All right, all right. Welcome all. Welcome to the Espresso Agent Mastery Series. We have a great day in store for you. A couple housekeeping things before I introduce our guest, Rich. Again, my name's Monica Weekly. If you've been on these before, you know I'm I'm standard issue around here. I kind of am the person you're always going to see on these, and I love this. I get such great joy bringing these incredibly talented people to you a couple times a month. And you know that Espresso Agent just has your back. This is their number one goal, is to bring you added value. That's their number one goal with this series. And I think they do an incredible job with it. So good for you for taking advantage of it. Kudos. We've got people from all around the country on today because we've got Rich Ganim, which is awesome. So we feel very lucky, and we're going to have a really open dialogue about kind of everything: lead gen, mindset, some creative lead gen. Rich is a guy we can learn from, so this is not going to be your typical PowerPoint presentation like we've done the last couple times, and I think it's going to be great because you guys get to participate. And so one of the housekeeping things is you'll note that you're on mute. And that is only for the benefit of us all, so we can all hear Rich talking and sharing his ideas. But you're on mute, not because we don't want to hear from you. We really, really, really want to hear from you. So please use the chat bar, which you can access down below. Little talking bubble says chat, and or the Q&A. I can see both of them. And as Rich is talking, or if there's something you just want to ask a very talented guy, throw that out there. We'll hit those as we go. If I miss any of them, we'll circle back at the end if that's okay, all right? The other thing is, somebody's going to ask at some point today, can I see this back? Can I watch this video back? Where can I get this video? And you will be able to see this video replayed on Espresso Agent's YouTube channel, which is full of all of these replays, and it's pretty cool. And they write, underneath the video, they write what the topic was. So peruse through there. I'm sure you'll find some good info. All right, let's see. So I think that's it as far as housekeeping stuff. Let me introduce you, Rich Ganim. He's, unfortunately, he is in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, so we are arch rivals. Arch enemies, right?
We're duking it out.
He definitely has the better baseball team right now. We don't even have basketball, but I think we pretty much kick your ass every time in NFL football.
We're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about that.
All right. Rich is currently the team leader at a large KW office up in Cleveland, which is where he's from, actually. But you moved away for a while, right? You moved down to Florida and ran a KW office down there. True?
I did. I born and raised in Cleveland, and at the end of 2012, decided I needed to get out of the cold and the snow and the miserable sports, and packed my bags and moved to Sarasota, Florida. And in June of 2014, was hired to run Keller Williams on the Water in Bradenton, Florida. So just the office was just east of Anna Maria Island and over by Lakewood Ranch in Sarasota there. So it's that was my first opportunity.
I love that. And then back to Cleveland for this opportunity, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Stayed in conversation with my operating principal at the time. Stayed in conversation with him, and Cleveland's always been home. Family's here, friends are here. My whole life was here, and the opportunity to come back to this amazing office that I'm in now. I couldn't do it, so back to the snow I went.
Awesome, love it. All right, and when Rich is not helping agents grow their business, he likes the outdoors. He likes to fish. He has a dog. What's your dog's name? I never asked.
Sarah.
That's cute. I love it when people do human names on dogs. It cracks me up. That's awesome.
People often ask if we talk about my dog, and we talking about Sarah. They're like, "Oh, is that your girlfriend?" I'll be like, "No, that's my dog."
That's my dog. She doesn't talk back as much, right?
Right.
That's awesome. So here's a great thing, guys. Rich is extremely familiar with Espresso Agent and has used this tool in his business, has been very successful with that. So he is one of us. And I love that angle of this, Rich. Just talk to us a little bit about your experience with Espresso Agent and how you think it can help agents. All these guys on the call are obviously clients.
Yeah. So, when I first moved to Florida in 2013, I had two aunts and uncles that lived there, and I knew nobody. So this ground that, this community was 100% foreign to me. I had no idea the neighborhoods, the streets. I just knew that I moved to Florida. I was going to sell real estate, and I needed to figure it out. And I purchased Espresso Agent for myself. And what I found was, it was affordable, but two, it had everything I needed. It had the FSBOs, it had the expireds, and it allowed me to kind of get that leg up. Because a lot of agents they're not using the dial, they're not using a dialer, they're not even getting FSBOs and expireds. So I knew that if I had that, then it was just a matter of getting that at bat with the seller, that would allow me then to just move forward and build my career.
You got it. That's awesome. And when you were building from the ground up, not knowing anybody, what was your regiment daily with lead gen and with Espresso Agent?
I think like most agents in the beginning, I was extremely inconsistent. Actually, what I like to say is I was consistently inconsistent. I was consistently inconsistent. So, you ride that real estate roller coaster, right? So like you're making money and then you're not. You're making money and then you're not. So for me, what I loved is that I didn't have to hunt for these expireds. I didn't have to drive through a neighborhood. And in Sarasota and Bradenton area, there's a lot of gated communities you just couldn't get in. Oh, yeah. So for me, like to have access to the expireds, to have access to the for sale by owner information, it was invaluable because it came to me. I didn't have to go to it. All I had to do was pick up the phone and then rely on my voice to be able and my scripts and my dialogues and conversations to set appointments, and then at that point it was just a matter of conversion.
Awesome. Did you, when you were getting started, were you a guy that had limiting beliefs about scripts and what to say? Like, did you have hesitations, or were you not bothered by that?
I'd be lying if I told you that I still don't. I think we all have those limiting beliefs, and whether it's I'm not good enough, or I'm not tall enough, or what are they gonna what am I gonna say when it's this $1 million listing? Like what am I gonna say? I think we all to some extent have those limiting beliefs. But what I learned is that when you do something continually and you start to build a habit, that makes that conversation so much easier. And once I knew that, thank you for taking, this is Rich Ganim with Keller Williams. Thank you for taking my call. I noticed that your home showed up on the expired list. When, I was wondering when you're going to hire the right agent to sell your home. Once I was able to internalize and come up with that script, it didn't matter what they said because I knew where I wanted to take the conversation. I think that for me was the biggest thing, is that I didn't have to. It didn't matter whether you were 100,000, 300,000, or $500,000. The conversation didn't change because if I was in control, it didn't matter what they said. I knew what I was going to say because it was my conversation and they were part of it.
Got it. And do you find that conversations based on what you wanted to say were easier at the lower level of that price range versus the higher level? Or I know what you're saying, it wasn't going to be different, but categorize them as far as what you were receiving.
The easiest phone conversations to have were with the higher price points, to be completely honest with you.
Is that right?
In my experience, yeah. When you get into that $500,000, I would say $500,000 plus that price point, especially in Florida, there was a little bit more of a sophistication. It was more of a business conversation. A lot of times. Now, granted, there's still a lot of emotion involved, right? It's still, memories were made in the structure that you're calling to sell. So there is emotion. There is emotion there. Yet when I found that when I'm having a conversation with like a $250,000 or a $200,000, or it doesn't even matter at that point, they don't have the cash flow unless it's an investment property, the cash flow wasn't as liquid. They didn't, they weren't as liquid. So there was more emotion. I have to get this dollar amount rather than I just need to sell it because I need to go do something else. So for me in Florida, when I hadn't sold real estate in Ohio since 2012. So for me, so my experience in Florida at that higher price point, it was an easier conversation because at that point it was a business conversation rather than the emotional, I'm your realtor, I want to sell this house.
Got it. And how do you personally process the rejection that comes along with the daily lead gen on Facebook, on Espresso Agent?
In the beginning, I was like, I can't do this. I'm that type of person that hates rejection. I fear rejection. And it was until somebody gave me a John Maxwell quote. It was sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And for me, like I'm now at the point in my journey, in my real estate journey here, that if somebody says no, they're not saying no to me, they're saying no to the opportunity. And I needed to talk to enough people to say yes, that want to say yes. And in the process, I'm going to talk to a lot of people that are going to say no, and I'm okay with that. Once I realized it wasn't personal, and once I realized that I might have caught them when they're in the middle of trying to feed their kids dinner, and it was a no to get off the phone, or maybe they just got yelled at by somebody, or they're just having a bad day. It was never about me. It was about their situation, and they were saying no based on where they were in that moment. So much so that I've actually gotten yelled at by somebody on the phone. And after I got done with my session, I got back. I just I had that like eating at me. I called them back and I'm like, I just want to apologize. I don't know if it was something I said, but it's everything. Like, I genuinely want to help you. Is there anything that I can help you with? And they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You caught me at the worst time. It was never about me.
That's great.
I work with our agents on that. Anybody that talks to me about like that cold calling, it's never about me. It's always about them and where they're at, and their reaction it's not about me.
Yeah, that's so good. Yet it is so hard for us as human beings, not as agents, as human beings, to separate those two things, right? I mean, one of the best thoughts I've heard is, do you imagine you're at a diner and you finished with lunch and the waitress comes up and says, hey, do you want some apple pie? And you're like, no, I'm good. Do you think that waitress goes back and like, they don't like me? Like,
right.
They didn't want my apple pie. Like, no, you just didn't want the apple pie. Or maybe your policy is that you don't have dessert at lunch, or maybe you're on a diet, or like, has nothing to do with anything except you just didn't want the apple pie. And yet we want to make it this big personal vendetta against us, right?
Yeah, like every time you go to TJ Maxx, whether it's $1 or $200, they ask you if you want to save 10% by opening a credit card.
That's right.
They get told no like 2,000 times a day. They don't stop asking. You know what I mean? Like, so we interpret it like, oh my God, they say no, I just can't do this.
Right.
Like, I'm out. Like I can't do this. When rather, okay, they might not want to, but all they did was provide you with an opportunity to go talk to somebody else whose life you can help change.
Yes, I love that. And why is it that we think we have to bat 1,000 all the time as agents, where, in Major League Baseball, a batting average of an incredibly amazing batter is what, 300 or something?
Yeah, if you hit 300, you're in the Hall of Fame.
You're in the Hall of Fame at 300, and yet
one out of every two.
It is crazy. What do you think? What are you seeing right now in the way of like your agents that you're talking to who are lead generating? What is their frustration right now with expireds versus FSBOs, or what's working in your opinion right now with the dynamics of the market as they are today?
It's funny. I just had a mastermind in my office last week with about 22 different producers, I would say $3 million and higher, The highest producer in the room was about $115 million in 2017. And we were talking about this exact topic. And obviously, you talk to a buyer's agent, there's a shortage of inventory, right? You talk to a listing agent and they're like, this is fantastic. I list it, I price it right, it sells. The consumer is being told by the media that there's an inventory shortage. When you look at it, like I can take my dog for a walk right now and houses aren't going to disappear as we walk down the street. So the inventory is there. We have a lead generation issue. We have a lead generation. It's not an inventory problem. It's a lead generation problem. And it's because if we have a buyer right now, it's easy money if we can get them under contract. The problem is you're going to have 5, 6, 7. I was talking to an agent this morning. She has 16 offers on a property that's been on the market less than 3 days. Mm-hmm. As a buyer's agent, it's tough. Yet if as listing agents, using these dialers, to go out and build our pipeline, the expired listings are the easiest. They're the easiest ones. They're the come list me's. They failed the first time. Mm-hmm. So now it's I'm the right agent to get the job done. For sale by owners are the second easiest. They're like, hey, somebody come sell me something. Like I want to move. Mm-hmm. So that just matter of just overcoming the objection. And if the for sale by owner, I think is the hardest one right now because they've sold one home before 12 years ago. When the market was a complete buyer's market, and that's when they bought their house. So they're the experts, right? Right. It's overcoming that objection, which I feel like once you overcome that objection of if I could net you $10,000 more, would that be worth the conversation? I think there's the opportunity. Okay. We don't have. I don't care where you're at in the country. Homes are not disappearing. Maybe in California a while ago with the wildfires, Houston with the hurricane, like that's an inventory issue, right? Like that's an inventory issue. Mm-hmm. This, like the rest of the country, it's a lead generation issue. Mm-hmm. It's purely a lead generation issue. And once we realize that we can make way more money, have way more leverage in our lives to be able to be and have the things that we want, listings are the name of the game. You can carry 80 listings at a time and go work from the beach all day if that's what you want to do. You can only work with 5 to 6 buyers at a time. Right.
So are you saying that maybe we have to work a little bit harder to create the inventory that is not dumping out on our laps like it has before, but that if you have a buyer, you might have to dig through some expireds or go knock on some doors or make some calls to find a seller?
Absolutely. If you're a buyer's agent and you're not calling for sale by owners and expireds, you're doing your buyers a disservice. If you're a listing agent and you're not calling for sale by owners and expireds, you're doing yourself a service. Mm-hmm. A disservice. Yeah. What blows me away is everybody gets into real estate because they want to be their own boss, right? Or somebody said they'd be good at real estate, or you should get into it. It's easier. You'll make a bunch of money, or whatever it is. Yet if you're a buyer's agent, you're employed by the buyers. You're not your own boss. You're their boss, or they're your boss, right? And then if you're a listing agent and then you're working for the seller, mm-hmm. right? So if we truly want to be our own boss, if we control the inventory and if we control the listings, we're going to control the market. Mm-hmm. So it can always be a good market. If we're sitting on 80 listings or 20 listings or whatever that goal is, we can control the market. It's easy. It's easier when you have what they want.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Did you have any success with for sale by owners, or did you focus on them? And we all know it's in the follow-up. Quite frankly, I think it's that's where a lot of the opportunity is in the 5th and 6th time that you call them. But did you have a secret sauce or something that really worked for you that you could share?
I was really, really cheesy. So I make my. It was the for sale by owner. I tried probably 1,800 different things. Just get me some sort of face-to-face at bat with this person, and I'll take my chances. So for sale by owner, the first day I saw it, I'd give them a phone call. If they didn't answer, I'd leave a message. That same day or the next morning, I would drop by a packet of all the purchase paperwork that they're going to need with a note, and I said, if you have any questions filling this out, feel free to let me know. I followed up the next day. Hey, I dropped off that packet. Did you have any questions? So I was trying to come from value and come from contribution rather than, hey, this is Rich with Keller Williams. I want to sell your house. Hey, this is Rich with. They're getting those phone calls. They're not getting the phone calls of, I know you want to move. How can I help you do that fastest? And the easiest way I can explain the difference in what I was doing to what others were doing is if you walk into a department store. When you walk into a department store, we instinctually avoid the salespeople. Mm-hmm. And when they ask, can I help you? No, I'm just looking. Right? Mm-hmm. It's automatically, no, I'm just looking. Mm-hmm. Yet if we walked into the department store and somebody came up to us and said, hey, how can I help you find what you're looking for so you can get out of here faster? You're now my best friend because I don't even know where it is I'm supposed to be looking. I'm just walking around aimlessly until I try and find it, or I get annoyed and I leave.
That's a great analogy, Rich. I love that. And it's true. And it's that instinctual reaction to selling that we all have. That's right. And your sellers may have that too. And again, that's not against you. That's against years and years and years of building that automatic response up. So we got to do a little muscle confusion on them and come from contribution, like you said. I love that. That's good. What other creative things could this group be doing with Espresso Agent in the way of generating leads, or what are you seeing working outside of expireds and FSBOs?
The biggest opportunity I see right now, because, there's only, depending on where you're at in the country, there's only so many expireds. There are only so many for sale by owners. You can bang out those phone calls in 15, 20 minutes sometimes, depending on the day. What I love most about Espresso Agent is the ability to plug into Cole Realty and to circle prospect around and find listings and find buyers. Especially if you're going to do an open house, I find this to be the biggest opportunity right now, because open house, if you do the open house right, you're going to get 30 to 40 people regardless of where you're at. And I really think that if you know where you're going to do your open house by Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, you can door knock around that open house, invite the neighbors in. On Saturday, if you just took 100 homes and maybe you did 50 homes around the community and 50 homes from the community that buyer's going to come from, now you're prospecting for listings and you're potentially finding your buyer. What most people don't do is they don't take advantage of the circle prospecting opportunity, because that's a weird conversation sometimes, right? Like, what do I say? Like, they answer the phone, what do I say? Start with saying hi. And then I always say, this is Rich with Keller Williams. I'm hosting an open house down the street. I'm sure you're interested in seeing what the home looks like. I wanted to invite you to a neighborhood only open house. It's going to be from 12 to 2 on Sunday. I'd love for you to stop by. And if you know anybody in the neighborhood looking, this might be a great opportunity for you to choose your neighbor. Mm-hmm. So that way, if I'm going to call around the open house, the other thing to circle prospect, here's a huge opportunity to circle prospect around your open house in the community, the move up buyer, if it's a move up home, like where they're going to come from. So if it's a $300,000 home, your buyer's probably going to be in that 2 to 250 range. Maybe they're going to go from one level to another. Calling them, inviting them to the open house. This is Rich with Keller Williams. I'm holding an open house at 123 Main Street on Sunday from 12 to 2. I'm not sure if you're in the market to purchase, but I wanted to call and invite you. We're going to our open house. It's 3-bedroom, 2-bath, completely renovated, great backyard. You or somebody might be interested. I'd love for you to come by. It's a non-pressure sell. It's a non-pressure call. And it's warm, it's inviting, and it's a great way to fill your lead generation pipeline, truthfully.
How do you, in that scenario, which I love that idea, how do you convert that conversation from about the open house to, digging for the lead there?
So if they said, I want to invite you to the open house, like, yeah, no, that's great. Do you know anybody that is? That would be looking to move into this neighborhood? Do me a favor. Here's my cell phone number. If they're interested, call me. I'd love to invite them. I'd love to have them come through. sellers go to open houses to interview agents.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do a Rockstar open house and if the seller if that seller sees that you've door knocked it, you've sent out flyers, it's on social media, you walk in, you have your flyers, your brochures. A lot of sellers walk into open houses because they want what's going to set you apart from the other agent. Mm-hmm. You're auditioning for the listing. And then if you follow back up and circle back around after that open house, they might not be a today buyer or a today seller, but they might be a 3 or 6 month. They're a pipeline. That's how you avoid this roller coaster that so many agents get on. Is we have to continue to build our pipeline. What better way to do it than inviting people to open houses? It's a non-pressure sell. The neighbors want to know what Bob and Mary did to their kitchen or what their house looks like, because Bob and Mary never invited them in. They weren't friends with Bob and Mary.
Right.
But now that Bob and Mary are going to be gone for 3 hours, they can walk through and pick the house apart or fall in love, or you never know. So just by inviting them, it's the easiest way to build that that farm area. And with circle prospecting, it's never a pressure sell.
Yeah, good point. I love that. Okay, Becca says, we're going to go back to FSBO for a second here. What was it you said to put in the FSBO packet? You were talking about the contracts that they would be signed.
Yeah, so it was all of the property disclosures. So if it was built before 78, it had the lead-based paint. I think there was I found the EPA get your home inspection thing. That brochure, just anything that the buyer might need to purchase the property. Because the reality is the seller has no idea how to fill any of that stuff out. And they're probably going to find a for sale by owner title company, or they're going to hire an attorney to review the documents to make sure they're not being scammed or taken advantage of anyways. So if we can come from contribution and give everything to them and then be a resource, if they don't sell it, they're going to come to you because you never sold them anything. You were just there to assist them in the process.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. I love that. Did you ever do any, I know one big hot button right now for sale by owners is security. From that standpoint, is knowing who's inside your house and what are you going to do if somebody knocks on the door and wants to see it and you don't have that screening moment. And did you ever do any sort of subtle scare tactics there without it being a scare tactic?
Truthfully, I always tried to avoid that part of the conversation.
Okay.
However, that is a real reality to a for sale by owner. They're letting they're going to let anybody in their home because they don't know what they're doing, right? So the buyers, they're taking time out of their day to let a unqualified buyer in, or a looky-loo, or somebody that probably can't even, I shouldn't say probably, that might not even be able to afford the property. My job as the listing agent is to ensure that only qualified buyers come into your home, because I value your time and I value the fact that you have to take time out of your very busy day to leave the home so it's in show condition. Mm-hmm. Why don't I do the lifting and the heavy legwork for you and make sure that only the people that can afford to purchase your home are able to.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Do you ever offer to host an open house for sale by owner? Becca wants to know.
Yes. Our productivity coaching program at our office, that was actually one of the things that we're talking about the other day. The sellers are going to do an open house. They have no idea how to do an open house. They don't know what the questions to ask. They don't know how to market it. We do open houses not to sell the house we're in, right? We do open houses to procure buyers to go sell them other things. Very rarely, in my 8-year career, I've sold one house through an open house, and it was pure dumb luck. It really was. It was dumb luck. It's never happened. Mm-hmm. Other than that one time. So our job is to procure leads to go sell other homes. So what a great opportunity to showcase to that seller, look, I'm willing to do anything to sell your home, including taking that open house for you so that you can go do whatever you need to do. And it's a fantastic opportunity. I've also, when they've said no to me asking, I've always said, great. If after your open house, if you found people that weren't interested in purchasing your home, can you give me their contact information so I can reach out to them about showing them other property to find them the perfect home for them? I've gotten that's worked for me too.
I love that. That also strikes me as the fact that you're demonstrating to them that you're hustling, that you're trying, that this is your number one priority, and that you're a damn good agent because you're not just putting a sign in the yard.
You know, everybody wants to look good and be right. So to the seller, like, how do we help them look good and be right? We have to coach them through that conversation that in order to look good, they need to hire you, and in order to be right, they need to price it right and get professional photography and staging and all that stuff. So we have to kind of coach them through the look good and be right. And, you know, everybody's all about WIIFM, right? What's in it for me? Mm-hmm. So if we can't deliver that message, we're never going to win the listing. We can have the best scripts. We can have the best inflection. We can do all that perfectly. But if we can't convey to the seller that we actually care about getting them where they want to be, when they want to be there, and with the least amount of hassles, what do we do? You know, we're letting them down.
Mm-hmm. You're right. It's a good perspective to have in our minds. Okay, a couple other questions here. Oh gosh, I'm probably going to butcher your beautiful name. Delana Cotton asks, when you're going through Espresso Agent looking for a specific type of home, example, ranch with a finished basement, how can I find that type of home without clicking on each person's name in the picture? That's a good tech question that I don't know the answer to. Rich, do you know?
You know what? I don't. But that sounds like a fantastic circle prospecting opportunity to call neighborhoods. I'm looking, who do you know that lives in a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom ranch that would be between this price? That to me, like that's where my mind goes is there's my script to go circle prospect, to go find that home that's currently not on the market.
I love it. So instead of needing to zoom in and find the house, Delana, is take advantage of the idea that you're going through each of these, call them as you're going. And especially, guys, if you have a buyer or several buyers, which I'm guessing you do right now, the October, November, December expireds went off the market at the holiday, and they're thinking about relisting in the spring. Well, that's happening now. So that's a great batch of people.
I'd even go into the people that did not relist in September and October. They were waiting through the holidays to relist. Like you could probably pull 12 months worth of expireds, filter them out, and you're going to still have a few hundred that did not choose to relist.
You got it. That's awesome. So Delana, there are some fabulous Espresso Agent tech people. If they can respond here to your question about filtering, great. And if not, I'll make sure they reach out to you and let you know. And then she also asked, when you circle prospect around the open house, how many mailers or flyers do you send out? Were you doing mailers or flyers, or did you like the calling?
I never did mailers or flyers. And the reason I didn't is my timing. I could never get my timing right because my goal was to understand where I was doing my open house by Wednesday. So if I were to then create the flyer for Sunday, I'd have to probably get it in the mail on Thursday. Mm-hmm. I had too much going on, and at the time I didn't have an assistant that could go and create and do all of that. When the weather's nice, though, I would door knock. And, you know, I get a lot of pushback on, well, what if it's non-soliciting? You're not selling them anything in a door knock. You're inviting them to the open house. And the definition of solicit is to sell or to ask for, and you're not doing either. You're inviting. But then again, ask your broker, because I'm not getting into that. I'm not crossing that bridge. So I never did the mailers. I'm a better person face-to-face, belly-to-belly than I was on the phone. So for me, if I could get in front of you, I can engage you in conversation. I like your car. What, you're a car collector? No way. This garage, it's a 4-car garage. It's going to be perfect for you. That was easier for me.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Cool. All right, guys, keep the questions coming. That's very helpful. Wayne Johnson, when going after upmarket properties, and the seller said, I like you personally, but have you sold any homes in my price point? So I guess that objection is basically you're not experienced enough. Let's talk about that. Let's role play that out. I'll be the seller. So, Rich, I appreciate you, but I'm not sure how many houses have you even sold?
Well, last year we sold 2,630 homes as an office. We're the number 2 office in the entire MLS, and what we've found is that more buyers and sellers choose to work with us than they do any other company because of the value that we provide. So while we've definitely sold plenty of homes in that price point because of that, our track record shows.
Mm-hmm. But have you done any in that price point?
Oh no, you know what? Now that you think of it, no, you know what? But you'd be my first one, and I'd always remember the fact that you were the first home in this price point that I sold. What a great opportunity for both of us.
That'd be awesome. Or you could say, yeah, I'm usually actually a little higher than your price point, but
right, right, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. All right, let's see. Good, Wayne. Let us know if we answered your question there.
But so Wayne, there's a lot of times that when you're trying to move up, that's the case. And when my first big listing, that was an objection. And I went, look, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I haven't listed anything in this price point before. And yet the value that I provide to my client, it's no different than in the 600,000 or the 300,000 or the 200,000. The price is the price. The value that I provide, my level of service, it scales based on everything. So you're still going to get the same level of value and the same level of service. It's a house. You're not selling a Chevy compared to a Rolls Royce. And I can learn. I'm a quick learner. So that's mahogany flooring. Fantastic. I now know that's mahogany flooring. The seller. The biggest home I ever listed, I walked in, I had no idea what any of this crap was. This was 100% custom. The front door was custom. It was from like Saudi Arabia, something or other. I didn't know. But I realized when I walked in to preview the home with the seller, this is a unique home. There are things about this home that I don't know. So I asked the seller, create a list of what's the feature sheet. Why did you choose doors from Saudi Arabia? Why did you choose hardwood floor from a sunken ship that was found somewhere in Ireland? Like, why? Because somebody's going to walk in and go, that's ugly, until they understand what it is and go, okay, that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
My job's to market your property. It's not to know every single bell. It's not to know every single whistle. It's to understand what the value is that you saw when you purchased it, and how I can relay that value to the person buying it.
You know what strikes me so just blatantly right now when you're talking is what you did there was ask questions. That's what you did. We think we have to know the answer to everything, every little out to the market, every little decor piece or finish level or what, but what you did there was get the why behind the product, which is so much more important in selling, because what we're doing is telling stories, right? And so you're creating the story through the sort of surface level things. But asking the questions, then you don't need to know the damn answer, right? You just have to ask the questions.
And nor do you have to be the master of it. Right. The job is to market and sell the property, and to sell the home in the least amount of time for the most amount of money with the least amount of headaches. That's my job. Your job as the seller is to give me everything that I need to know about the stuff that I don't know and that I can't see.
Right, right.
And it's my job to relay that message over to the buyer and to get them to see the value. It's like selling the most expensive house on the street. Nobody wants to do it because, what if I sell the most? Good, you just raised the value of the neighborhood should love you.
Right. You're the damn hero now. That's right. So, gosh, yeah, it just strikes me that really what sellers are looking for is energy and hustle. And maybe what people are actually fearful of is that they don't have that. I mean, are you willing to do whatever it takes? Are you willing to pick up the phone and call people? Are you willing to hold the 7th level open house versus putting the sign in the yard? And are you willing to ask questions? And that's what you're demonstrating to, I think, all of us here, is that we have to have confidence in that more than the dictionary definition of the things we're doing.
I don't, and when I was in Florida, it was like $500 in 1 week to get your real estate license. In Ohio, in Cleveland here, it's like $1,700 in 4 weeks, or nights and weekends, or online. It doesn't cost a lot of money to get into this industry. Probably why a lot of us chose to get in it, right? Like it's the path of least resistance. It's a couple $100. It's a little bit of time. I can make a ton of money. Yet when we're in the industry, like, you know, I wish NAR would raise the dues to $10,000 or $5,000 a year, because it would weed out all we have to do is be better than the person that we're up against. And if we hold ourselves to a higher standard, we're going to win every single time, because we're working with one of the largest assets an individual or a family is ever going to have. So if we can come at it from a different approach, and do the 7th level open house. Most agents are only going to, put the arrows on like the, leading to the house. They're going to sit inside and they're going to wait. If it's a nice day, sit your butt on the front porch, wave to the neighbors, invite them. Do things that other people aren't going to do, and or that aren't willing to do, and you're going to have opportunity that they're never going to have because they didn't do what you chose to do.
That's exactly right. And for those of you who don't know what the 7th level open house is, it just struck me that might be something that not everybody understands. Basically, the gist of it is that each level represents something you do towards getting more people to the house. So a lot of people do a 3rd level, which is sign in the yard, put it on the MLS, and put a balloon on the sign or something, I think. Yeah. 7th level is where you do one more thing. You're doing the door knocking, you're doing the calling. 7th level is like an open house you could fully expect to get 25 people through. Pretty. Yeah,
it's on page. If you've ever read the book Shift, or you haven't read the book Shift, it's a fantastic book. But it's page 71 of the book Shift, where it breaks out the 7 levels, or just Google 7th level open house, and you'll see there's most agents stop by 3. Most agents probably don't even do 3, right? Most probably don't do the balloons.
You're right.
It's just in the MLS and arrows. So even if you can just plus it and just get to 3, I think you're going to be better off.
Balloons and donuts, you might be better off. I don't know. All right. I'm going to ask one last question kind of around this whole idea of setting ourselves apart. I don't know if this question is going to work or not, but I really feel like this might be hitting a chord with people, and it's hard to tell because we're not getting a ton of feedback. But I think that's one thing that agents are worried about is, going up against somebody, either a listing appointment or, hey, there are 10 other agents in my office that are calling this expired in their FSBO, and they run these big teams, and they're really sophisticated, and they know their scripts, and what can I do to set myself apart? So, Rich, you seem like a really honest guy about, what your strengths are and maybe where your strengths aren't. So when you compare yourself to other people, can you talk about that a little bit, where you felt less than, but here's what you did really, really well that other top agents weren't doing? Like, am I making any sense in my question?
No, you absolutely are. And I spent a lot of time in the early days of my career going, I can't go get that listing, or I'm not equipped to go sell that house, or I don't have a team, or whatever like story I told myself, right? Like whatever limiting belief I came up with about why I couldn't. Against one of the top listing agents in town on a listing when I was in Florida. I was going up against one, and the seller asked me, well, Rich, what separates you from this person? They've clearly sold more than you have. They've sold more real estate. And I went, other than the fact that I'm going to work harder for you than they are, the only thing that I have that they don't is if you hire them, you don't get me. I had to figure something, like, and that's literally just what I said. Like, I had no comeback to it. Like, you're not going to get me. Like, I'm going to do everything I can to sell your home. And when I was just in the business, like, I had no other listings. Like, if I had a listing, that's the only thing I'm trying to sell right now. That's all I had. I got to a point where somebody told me, stop comparing your success. Stop comparing your failures to other people's level of success. You're not where they are. And to me, like, that kind of hit me, and that kind of stood out. I'm a very, very competitive person. I don't like to lose. So for me, like, I see like the number one agent and go, I'm going to come get you. And then I'm like, oh, I didn't get there. But yet when I turn around, like I just covered a real lot of distance in a really, really specific, I succeeded. I might not have gotten there, but I succeeded. I got to a point in my business and in my career where I'm not looking backwards and I'm not looking at what other people are doing. That brings me back to, was it the Summer Olympics? Michael Phelps' last Summer Olympics. There's that picture floating around where he's in second place. As he's catching up, the guy that was in first turned to look and see where he was, and Michael Phelps went right past him. So it's winners focus on winning and losers focus on what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
That to me, I have my goals. Where I'm heading isn't where everybody else is heading, and my journey is different than your journey. And if I can help somebody move forward, fantastic. Yet my path is different than somebody else's, so I'm not really concerned anymore where anybody else is. And I would encourage everybody that's listening to this not to worry about, whoever's sitting next to you making the same expired calls you are. Because even with the same script, you're going to deliver it differently than they are. And even if you guys went in and did the same listing presentation verbatim, it's still going to be delivered differently. And you can't worry about what other people are doing in this industry. You'll get eaten alive.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. It's like you just embraced your position instead of tried to finagle like some sort of soft way around it. You just said, yeah, you're going to be my only client. I'm free. I'm going to hustle, and you won't be one of 75 as you will be with the other guy. You'll be one of one.
Yeah. And when I had 15 listings and I had a team, yeah, my conversation changed because it had to. I could no longer say, well, yeah, right, you're my only listing. In the beginning, I had to play to my strength, and my strength was, you're my only listing. You're going to get every single thing that I have to get your home sold. It's still, it's still like that for me. Like I'm no longer listing and selling real estate. I'm now coaching and consulting with agents. I'm helping them, build bigger businesses and different things. And there's 225 plus agents in my office. Yet when I'm with one of them, completely 100% of the time, giving them everything that they need. The conversation just changes.
Yes, that's awesome. Okay, I think let's see, one last. Brenda Anthony, does Rich coach? Do you coach agents outside of your office?
No. Oh, yeah, yes, I do. I'm not so I coach in the respect of, I work with other agents to help grow their business. I'm not a paid coach. People do not pay me monthly to coach with them. I coach and consult with the top 20% in our office. We have a productivity coach that works with the other 80%. And then I work with agents outside of the company because, not every company's team is team focused and growth focused. And some companies weigh you down rather than lift you up. So a lot of time I spend with agents playing chess from that 10,000 foot view, trying to help them see different opportunities. But no, nobody, I'm not a paid coach in that like the Mike Ferry Maps coaching respect. I coach and consult within the marketplace.
Well, I would say one day when you want to do that, you'll be very good at that. So I hope you do.
Thank you. It's on the vision board. It's on the vision board.
Excellent. Good deal. Guys, Rich, thank you so much for volunteering your time and sharing some awesome nuggets. Guys, I hope you found some things in there that you can take and either apply to your mindset right now or apply to your everyday practice. Get out there, be yourself, be authentic, attract people to you. Don't worry about who you're repelling in any way. There's plenty of business to go around. And let's see. Yep, I think that's it. Anything else, Rich?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. The pie is big enough, and we can get as big of a piece as we want. We just have to go out there, and we have to just accept the fact that you're not going to win every single time, and take the times that you don't win, learn what you could have done better, and take that and apply it moving forward. Because this industry, you truly can you can be, do, and have everything that you want in life. And just when you think that you've accomplished the most you can accomplish, you get there and you're like, well, I can do more. So then, all right, figure out your plan and go do more. This is a phenomenal industry, and it's a vehicle to get us wherever we want to go if we're willing to get in the car and take the drive.
Oh, that's it. I love it. All right, Rich, great chatting with you. Thanks for your time. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, see you guys. Have a good day, everybody.